Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Y'all acting like it's Monday morning or something.
It's Tuesday. Y'all should be wide awake by now.
And that was
You're
a
reading this
soft
book?
one.
No, this one you are. I'll have to show you a picture of my dog. I used to read this book with my students, and so I got a little hound dog, and his name is Charlotte. After that book, I'll show it to you. All right, let me find.
This a long myself. Well, my alarm. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. I can just find.
Abigail, can you put this on that table for me? There's a stack just like this right there about my box. My questions in the jar box. Keep going, keep going. Right there, right there. You were right, yeah. Mhm. Yes.
Get to the right spot.
All right, good morning again.
Good morning.
So, I have heard that y'all know more about corn than most people. Is that true? Y'all learned a lot about corn? I have learned a lot about corn. It's actually pretty fascinating. It's a lot more fascinating than I thought it was. So, today we are going to be reading back in your magazine. So, if you don't have this out, if you'll go ahead and get it out on your desk. And I know that you have read, today we're going to reread something that you have already read. We're just going to have a certain part of it that we're going to read. And our goal is going to be to identify key details in the text. So your learning targets. I can identify key details in a text. I can use key details to determine the central idea. I can explain how the key details support the central idea. I can write a central idea statement to confirm understanding of key concepts, and I can explain ideas clearly during collaborative discussions. What words do you see repeated up there?
I can.
You see, I can. What else? What are we going to be learning? About key details. And what else? Key ideas. There's one other big thing. Central idea. So we're going to be looking at key details, that small details that help us understand a big central idea, okay? And the central idea is kind of like the main topic. All right, okay. So here's some vocabulary that we're gonna review. I want you to take a second to look at this. So these are some words that you're gonna see in the text that you may or may not be familiar with. So, climate. What is climate? What is climate? It's weather. It is. How is climate different from weather? Look at this picture. What do you notice about the picture?
There's wind to the
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? How is climate different from weather?
climate only has hot wind.
That's a good guess. Yeah. So climate is like the weather in an area. So like there's tropical climate. We have a climate where we have 4 seasons. You know, everywhere doesn't have 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people just have cold weather all the time, or just hot weather all the time, or just rainy. So climate is, what is the area, what is the weather like in that area? So the climate of a place is the usual weather and temperature in that place. Fertilize. What does that mean? What does it mean to fertilize something? Turn and talk to your neighbor. Turn and talk to your neighbor. Your table. What does fertilize mean? I should hear you talking. Give me a thumbs up if you can tell me what fertilizer is, or what to fertilize means. What is it? What is it?
To produce new plants or stronger plants.
Okay, to produce new plants or stronger plants. So you fertilize the soil to produce new plants. What does that mean? What are you doing to the soil? What does fertilize mean? Do you fertilize it to make it healthier or to kill it?
Make it healthier.
Yeah, so when you fertilize something, it means that you're adding nutrients to make it healthy, okay? So it'll grow. And then nutrients are the vitamins that are in the soil that help it fertilize. So in this picture here, we've got different letters. These are different nutrients. These are the symbols for different nutrients. And then what is a region? What is a region?
A large area of land or state.
Yeah, so there are regions of the United States. We have some, here are the regions. What region, I know this is kind of small, do you know what region of the United States we live in? What region do we live in?
Southeast.
We live in the southeast, because if we were to have north, south, west, east, we live on the east side of the country and the south side, so we're the southeast. Today, we're gonna be talking about the Midwest, which is like out here. Ooh. When I try to move it, it doesn't move. So anyway, those are some vocabulary that you're gonna need for today. All right, I want you to turn to page 12 in your magazine. A short history of a special plant. What do you think that special plant is?
It should be down there.
Yeah,
There it is.
it's on this one. Should I open it? What is the fastest way for you to get to? This is how it go. Sorry. I'm just trying to
You
pull it up
can't
here.
go through, yeah, I usually go through the driveway. You can get to it.
Okay, so we're gonna start reading on page 13. We're gonna look at early cultivation. What do you think that means, early cultivation?
Maybe
Early cultivation. Well, what does early mean? It means before, early on. And what do you cultivate?
You put your heart into it. You try to grow.
You try to grow it. So early on, they were putting their heart into it and trying to grow. I love that definition. Okay, so so much to click through here. Tell me my window's too small. That's rude. Okay, so here we are. We're right here in early cultivation. And should I do this to write on it? Does that-
Moisture is
All right, I got some things to learn here.
Moist-
Got some
it's, okay, you're trying to,
to write on it.
it's, it should be.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna read about early cultivation of what? Yeah, so this is the beginning of how corn grew. So, no, it's okay. So I am looking for key details as I read to help me understand the central idea. The central idea is the main thing that this passage is talking about. All right, so paragraph 4, if you'll start there and just follow along with me, so if you'll put your finger on paragraph 4. All right, the first Native American corn farmers used the seeds from the healthiest corn plants to grow their crops. This selective breeding improved their crop yield. When farmers realized they could plant a surplus of corn, that means extra, and not hurt their fields, they grew larger crops and stored the leftover corn as a food supply that could last during the winter months. The Native American planting system was called the Three Sisters method. For centuries, early farmers planted their fields with 3 plants: corn, squash, and beans. They planted them together. Each plant helped the other grow, and the mixture of plants helped preserve nutrients in the soil. So in that passage, what is that passage mostly about? It's about the Three Sisters method. And I see some really important key details. It talks about 3 sisters, 3 plants, and how they help each other, right? What are the 3 plants?
Corn, beans, squash.
Corn, squash, and beans. That's right. All right. So in my first paragraph, I have the 3 sisters, the 3 plants. Oh, this is real big. And corn, squash, and beans. All right, let's look at the next paragraph and see what this is about.
You
That's okay, you don't have to annotate it right now. All right, the advantages of planting the 3 crops together, there it is again, 3 crops, were tenfold. The advantages of planting the 3 crops together were tenfold. What does that mean? Have y'all talked about that already? What does tenfold mean? The advantages of planting the 3 crops together were tenfold. Turn and talk at your table for a minute and see if you can make a guess as to what that would mean.
I don't know what it's for.
What do you think? The advantages of planting the 3 crops together was tenfold. Does that sound good, positive, or negative? Does it? Okay. Why?
I know it's a benefit.
I think it's positive, but I think today is right.
All right, I hear some good answers. What do you think? Who can share? What do you think? What does tenfold mean?
It's for
What does it mean? What do you think it means? It's a benefit. Is it just a little benefit? It's a big benefit. It's tenfold. That means it's like 10 times the benefit. All right? Corn was this. We're back in the text. Paragraph 5, second sentence. Corn was a strong and vertical plant that stood straight, so the beans could curl up around its stalk. In turn, the beans fixed nitrogen in their roots, helping restore the soil. Meanwhile, the squash leaves spread out on the ground and retained moisture in the soil for the other plants. They also help keep away the pests. This mutually beneficial arrangement among the plants mimics the type of symbiosis found in nature. The end result was a healthy crop that yielded a variety of nutritious plants and also maintained the integrity of the soil. So, it says they were mutually beneficial. I see a graphic on this page that helps me to understand this. Take a look at that graphic feature. How does that help you understand this paragraph?
It helps you get an image of what it looks like.
Yeah, it helps you get an image in your mind of what it looked like. So talk at your table for a second. What do you see in that picture?
I see
Corn
that.
I see there's like multiple.
All right. What do you see in that image? You see corn. What else do you see?
A corn plant.
How does that help you understand what the passage is saying?
Because it shows the three sisters planting whatever the caption says.
Planting mound. Yeah. So it helps you see what it looks like, because otherwise that might be hard for us to picture. All right, so this second paragraph is about the advantages of planting 3 crops together. And then I have some details about it, right? So my details are the corn was a strong vertical plant that stood straight. The beans curl around the stalk. The beans put nitrogen in the roots and help the soil. The squash leaves spread out on the ground to help retain moisture. So they all work together. Okay? So. I don't know what this thing. I'll go back over there. Oh, I see. All right, so we got one more paragraph we're gonna do together, and then I'm gonna let you practice here in a minute. So on the next page, paragraph 6, Europeans began to settle in North America in the 1600s. At first, maize was entirely unknown to them, but they quickly saw its value. The English called it corn because that is what they called all wheat and barley crops in England. Native Americans taught the settlers how to grow and care for the 3 sisters' crops. The settlers recognized that maize was key to their survival. In time, people around the world began to grow and eat maize. So here, this passage is mostly about
Europeans,
okay. This paragraph is mostly about the Europeans and how they settled in the 1600s, and they learned about corn from the Native Americans, and eventually that was part of their survival because it was so common. All right, let's see if I can come back over here. Got a whole learning curve here. All right. Miss, oh, I gotta do that.
Yes.
There we go. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so my key details. No. Now I'm trying to figure out how to, oh my gosh.
What do you want to?
No, I got it. I just don't know how to use this board. It's so fancy.
Want to type it right?
I'll just write it. It's fine. Okay, so my key details. So I'm gonna look back. All right. So paragraph 4, my key detail was about the 3 sisters. It was about the corn, the what?
Beans.
Beans.
And squash.
This is like such a fat marker here.
I think you can. I think you can select.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay.
There you go.
Jeez. I'm gonna have to get you to give me a lesson on this board before I do this again. All right, the second passage 5. What was the main thing that passage was about? What were the key details?
How the advantages about the advantages of the 3 crops.
Yes, the advantages of the 3 sisters, essentially. All right, and then the last paragraph, what was that about? Page 6.
Page 6.
Paragraph 6. Okay, well, let's look back at it. What would be, it was about the Europeans. Yep. What about the Europeans?
They began to settle in the North America. In
Yep.
16.
They settled, and what was important about that? Why did that matter in this passage about corn?
Because
y'all turn and talk at your table. Turn and talk at your table. What was important about passage 6?
The Native Americans living in Copper Settlement.
Right, this table here, y'all got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, who can tell me? Who can tell us what was important about that paragraph? I heard it everywhere. What was important? What is it?
The Europeans discovered maize and started eating
Yes, the Native Americans taught the settlers about corn. I've got to learn how to write on this board too. My handwriting is actually very neat, but not on here. About corn. All right, so now here's the hard part, the central idea. So now I have to make sense of all three of those paragraphs as what is the main thing those three paragraphs together we're talking about. I remember that my subheading was early cultivation. So it's about in the beginning of corn, right? If your head's on your desk, put it up, please. As this way, that way I know you're listening. Just like when you're talking, I'll listen to you. I'll pay attention to you. Okay. All right, so I'm thinking that this was about the importance of the three sisters. It was about how they worked together, and it was about the Native Americans teaching the settlers about corn. So I need to figure out a way to put that into one central idea, okay? So I am thinking the Native Americans, you're gonna do this in a minute, so the Native Americans used the three sisters method to grow crops, and they taught the Europeans their method. Okay, do you think that summarizes what this whole, I know, I gotta work on my Promethean board handwriting. Do you think that summarizes what this whole section was about? Did I leave out anything really important? Okay, all right, so we're gonna try, you're gonna have a chance to do this with your table, okay? So you're gonna look at paragraph 7 and 9. In paragraph 7 and 9, you are going to identify and underline the key details and try to determine the central idea. Okay, so 7 through 9, the Corn Belt. So you're gonna reread the section about the Corn Belt, and you're gonna try to come up with the key details and the central idea together. All right, you have 10 minutes, maybe 7. All right, so figure out who's gonna read, how you're gonna read it. You're gonna underline key details and determine the main topic.
That was exciting.
Yeah, because you're reading different ones. You're reading 7 and 8. All right, everybody should be reading the Corn Belt. Seven, 8, and 9. Sorry.
What? As I do
All right, I've circled it on the board. Focus, you don't have a lot of time. 7, 8, and 9.
All right.
I can
Okay, good read. You have to read to us 12. You don't have a pencil? You know what? There's two ways to do this. To underline details. I'll give you a pencil to write on your paper. And a pencil. So why is it funny? What are we doing? All right. All right, everybody should be reading.
Read out loud. Please pick a color. It says mine. Starting the game. It says mine.
Is there anyone else that needed an extra pencil?
Look, did you answer your Okay.
What time do you shut up? Not this problem. Okay. Because when you do a shut up, I was the
What was the key to yourself in
I want to say it.
What's the key to yourself?
For what? I just
You need to pay attention.
In the past,
All right, you have 2 more minutes.
See, this one person that has
You're almost done. All you gotta do is figure out this.
depends on this. 1 year and 8. You're busy talking about football or something.
Number 9 was the main
Oh, I
thing.
have that.
All right, what key details? You right, paragraph 7, mostly about. Yes.
Animal waste help fertilize the soil.
No.
I know. Oh, I was trying to look at my phone. Oh, well, he's not working.
Figure it out.
I know.
This one's one of the newer ones.
It is. I think,
All right, let's come back together. I know you might not be finished. That's okay. We're gonna finish it together. Okay? It's just fine. You read it. Most of you have your key details underlined, even if you haven't written them down yet. Okay? So when we look at paragraph 7, what were the key details in paragraph 7? Yes.
Okay, the key details was this religion climate has the hot summers and regular rainfall that corn needs to grow 3 meters, 10 feet tall.
Yes, and it's region. Remember we talked about region, we live in the southeast region? Good. All right, and what region is it? What region is it talking about?
Midwest.
The Midwest. So that's important for us to know what it is, sometimes called the Corn Belt. So the Midwest has a climate, has lots of rainfall and the warm weather for the corn to grow. Awesome. What about passage 8, paragraph 8? Yes.
One common pattern of rotation of crops is to plant soybeans one year and corn the next.
Yes. So they rotate crops. Why do they rotate crops? Why is that important? Why are they telling us that?
So you can help the soil.
So you can help the soil. Not just because it's fun, but because it helps the soil. So the soybean plants add nutrients back into the soil. So they rotate the crops. If they plant the same crops every year, the soil gets worn out. All the nutrients that the soil needs to grow the corn is worn out. Then they figured out that if they plant corn one year and soybean the next year, then the soil would be fertilized by the corn to grow the soybeans, and then the soybeans would fertilize the soil so that the next year the corn could grow. So that's what crop rotation is. They rotate the types of crops that they grow to help the soil. All right, and then paragraph 9. What was the main key detail about paragraph 9? What's it telling us? We talked about the Midwest. has the right climate to grow corn. We've talked about farmers use crop rotation to help the soil. Yes.
When these animals eat both, cattle or hogs, these animals eat both corn and soybeans.
And what's important about them eating the corn and the soybeans?
In the fall, the animals go out in the fields to eat any leftover crops. Animal waste helps fertilize the soil for the next.
All right, so help me understand this. Think about this for a second. The animals eat the corn and the soybeans, and then the animals fertilize the soil. What does that mean? How are they fertilizing it? Are they going out and spreading fertilizer?
No, the
waste.
The
They're
waste.
making out of crop.
So they go to the bathroom in the soil and it fertilizes the soil.
and it makes the soil more moisture, and so when you plant the plants, it can grow higher and higher.
Yep, so it gives the soil the nutrients and then it can grow. So many farms raise, so there's cattle and hogs, they eat the corn and soybeans, and then the animal waste fertilizes the soil. Y'all are so awesome. All right, so here on my organizer, if I can. Goodness. I would put those key details here if I knew how to work this. Here we go. All right, so these are the things y'all said. If I could just. Okay, so these are all things you said. Look, I knew what y'all were gonna say. You said the Corn Belt has hot summers and regular rainfall, or you said the Midwest. They're the same. The Corn Belt and the Midwest are the same. The farmers rotate crops to protect the soil, and the animals fertilize the soil. Awesome. Now, how can we put that together as a central idea? If we put that all together, how do we put that all together? Talk at your tables for a minute and see if you can put these 3 key details into one central idea, one main thing to describe those key details.
Okay, so
Rotate crops to protect the soil.
and so cattle
They
and
take,
hogs
they
fertilize the soil.
raise cattle, and they eat the leftovers, and they waste it out.
Twice as long as it says. So, I mean, this is why I want to teach them.
At the same time.
And like, this is important.
Yellow rice. Or a baked potato, bacon.
All right, what central idea do we have? What are some ideas that you have for the central idea? How can we put that all together? If we were telling somebody about what we read and the most important parts, that would be the central idea.
The Corn Belt in the Midwest has hot summers and regular rainfall, and the farmers in the Midwest rotate crops to protect the soil. They raise cattle and hogs to fertilize the soil by the waste.
Excellent. Does somebody have a different version of that? Nobody has any other ideas? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. What were some things you talked about at your tables?
Basically just about the climate, like.
Okay.
Like I took like, well, I didn't like discuss like what I'm gonna write, but I just know that I will take like the most important detail and just summarize it and put it in the central idea.
Look, Miss, Dobson has the central idea anchor chart that y'all made, so you're looking at the titles and the headings and the photos and the charts and text features and illustrations.
But remember this, ask yourself, what is the text mostly about? You look at those details, but then you say, well, I get the details, but in my own words, what is it mostly talking about? And that's how you kind of come to the central. Remember, central means kind of the main point of it, like, yes,
It's mostly talking about the corn belt, I think.
yes. And then you're just gonna shape this into your own words, but what is this text mostly about and how can it best be stated? So when you look at the details, it's talking about the hot summers and regular rainfall, how farmers rotate crops, and how cattle and hogs fertilize the soil. So all of these things working
Yeah.
together.
You did.
Yes, he did.
I know. It's like I knew what you were gonna say and I put it up here beforehand. All right, if you don't have this written down, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to write this down. You wanna write down your key details and your central idea because you are gonna have, later on, you're gonna do this independently with another section of the text. So you wanna have this written down as your model, okay? So that you know. Oh, yeah, I remember what Miss Chestnut was talking about. It was so long ago.
Do you want them to write it in their reading response journal or do you want it in their magazine?
I
Is
gave
it on-
them.
Oh, you gave them the,
Mhm.
yeah, I have those right here, but I didn't know if you, I didn't even see you.
Here, I'll give you the
Okay,
extras too.
okay,
And I only did 40 because I was thinking it was your,
that's okay, I can do
and
it.
then that's the back, but I'm probably gonna go through that fast.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
gotta figure out what we can condense, right?
okay.
Okay. We're gonna move on. If you didn't quite get it, I think at least one person at each table is finished with it, so you can get the rest of it from the new, okay? All right, so. It's funny, earlier I touched this accidentally and it changed and then what I wanted to change.
You know, if you press it once, could you? Only one. Because it normally has a, if you touch that thing in the, okay.
All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna look back for just a minute at a couple of vocabulary words that we read that were a little bit tricky. So look at paragraph 5. Y'all may have already talked about these with Ms. Dotson, and if you did, then great too. All right, in paragraph 5, there is a word, actually a couple words, but one word in particular. I'm gonna figure this out. Okay, there's this word right here, symbiosis.
Nature.
Not nature, symbiosis. Y'all can just laugh at me when I read it.
Symbiosis.
Y'all. You know how sometimes you're learning something new? Today, I'm learning something new. Okay, so there's this word right here, symbiosis. Find that on page 13. It's down here towards the bottom. I want you to circle it. I was just trying to figure out what that word means, all right? So it's really important that when we're reading something that has vocabulary that's specific to what we're reading, that's called domain-specific vocabulary, that we understand the words, all right? So your learning target is that you can determine the meaning of domain-specific vocabulary. Domain-specific, if you're talking about soccer, some domain-specific words might be goal, goalkeeper, boots. Those would be things you would need to know. If you were talking about the zoo, some domain-specific words might be cages, animals, zookeeper. Okay, we're talking about science. When we're talking about corn, this word is symbiosis. It's important that I understand what that means, or I don't know what this text is about. Okay, so can somebody read the sentence that it's in? It starts with they. Can somebody just read that? And then
They also keep away pests. Oh, they also help keep away pests.
go to the next sentence. Sorry.
This mutually beneficial arrangement among the plants mimics the type of I can't say that. Symbiosis found in nature. The end result was a healthy crop that yielded a variety of nutrients plants and also maintained the integrity of the soil.
Okay, so symbiosis. What do you think it means? What do you think it means? It says it's talking about how the crops work together. It says it's mutually beneficial and it mimics this type of symbiosis. Okay, it is found in nature. It is. So that's a good point.
Is it when the plants work together?
Yeah, it's they work together. They each get something from each other. Okay, so there are lots of symbiotic relationships in nature. Lots of them with planting. So here the soil gets something from the plants get something from the soil. Bees get pollen from flowers. Flowers get pollinated because the bee travels from one thing to another, so they depend on each other, okay? So what words in that sentence help you understand what symbiosis means? What about mutually beneficial? Does that help you?
Yeah, that's what
That's what you used? What does mutually beneficial mean?
they work. It works. They Things work together.
Yep, it works together. That's right. Okay, another word I want us to look at is, well, we're gonna do that one now. Okay, so, trying to find where I'm at. So, we had some context clues. Our main context clue that helped us here was the mutually beneficial and reading what it was about. In this paragraph, what is the symbiotic relationship? What's helping what? The plants are helping each other. That's right. So the three sisters are helping each other. So if I'm not sure what the word is, I can come over here. See, I haven't figured that out yet. And I can always look it up. We can always look words up when we don't know what they mean. All right? Sometimes that's the only way to make sure that our definition's correct. So I've got this children-friendly dictionary here. Let's see.
Symbiosis. Symbiosis.
You can say it either way. All right? Repeat it.
Symbiosis.
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 You can say it whichever way you like. All right? All right, so this says a mutually beneficial relationship between two dissimilar organisms. What does that mean?
It means like they're not
really the same
they're like
thing.
different kinds of things.
They're different kinds of things. There are some parasites or pests that live on animals, and it helps the animal survive, but it also helps the pest or the insect survive. They're different organisms, but they
help each other.
help each other. Okay, so I want you to look at, you can choose one of two words. Actually, I'm going to choose the word. If you look on page 15, I'm going to choose the harder of the two because you're so smart. There's this word right here. I see it in several places. Hybrid. Hybrid. Now, the first thing that it makes me think about is these hybrid cars that we have.
That's what I was about to say.
So I know that somehow that must be related, probably because they wouldn't be called hybrid cars.
They're basically like electric.
They're basically electric. So do we have electric corn?
No,
I don't know. All right, so take a minute with your table. You can decide very quickly whether you're going to read it independently or together. You'll make that decision within about 5 seconds. And then you're going to read this first paragraph here, paragraph 10, and use context clues. Let's see if we can figure out what hybrid means here. It does not mean a car.
I do it.
Tell you that. All right? All right. Decide, are you reading silently or together? All right, get started reading. You have 2 minutes. Okay, reading silently or together? Huh? Together? All right, do it then.
It's spelled A-G.
Page 15.
Agriculture. Scientists developed hybrid corn.
I know what hybrid is like.
Don't tell us. We're not even supposed to do that. We're supposed to be doing hybrid. Verizon says
No.
hybrid.
No.
Hybrid. Many farms of corn will also raise cattle or hogs.
Trying to figure out what the word.
Okay, so it's my turn. It's my turn.
Right, the context clues that you found, and what you think the definition is.
Where it says hybrid corn, the next word is fertilizer.
I need it.
Bro.
You're gonna write your context
I
clues.
don't know. I said I had to call third. No. Fertilizing the
Scientists develop hybrid fertilizers. One variety of corn with pollen from another variety makes hybrid. Result is a new type of corn that plant other stronger and able to produce.
Definition.
This corn makes favorable genetic changes that cultivate varieties of corn in higher, faster fields as more farmers.
No. Do it on definitions.
1932. So I think we're supposed to give them back.
You should get American Deli.
Where's your mom got? I gave her that pill a month ago.
Okay, I literally have to go read it. What does it say? And it says, Delani, I'm cool. It literally says,
All right, what do we think hybrid means and why? What do we think it means?
fertilizing a variety of corn with pollen from another variety
So it sounds like fertilizing one variety of corn with pollen from another variety makes hybrids.
Hybrid means like combining something from a different.
Yeah. Combining combining two things that don't normally go together, right?
When two different things mix together and then
Yes. You agree? All right. Did everybody think something similar? So what's a hybrid car?
it's like
It's like electric and gas mixed together, basically.
So they took two things
they
that
mix it together.
aren't the same and they combined it together to make
Electric
one car.
gas
Yes.
together.
All right. So let's check the definitions over here, just to make sure we're on track. Hybrid, the offspring of two plants or animals that are different species or breeds. A mule is a hybrid
Of a horse and a dog.
of a horse and a donkey. It's a hybrid. It was the original hybrid, the donkey. Yay! Hi. I'm just teacher trying to get from with insurance. But mostly I'm struggling with the board. So I don't know the word for fancy words. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask him.
Yeah, so that is, that's also a hybrid. Yeah. From, you wanna tell what the hybrid example you have? You wanna tell everybody? Ooh. Okay, tell them.
So so when she said hybrid, I bought it for because I like watching track dresses. So when she said hybrid, I thought of the Indominus Rex and the Raptors because they're both hybrid and the Indominus made of Velociraptors and T-Rex and they're like combined and with the green beast, so to create the hybrid, they have to put the DNA in this like shark Hubba what? They put the DNA into a dinosaur. They have to inject it and then like they have to put it in this like I don't know. It's a really cute thing. So they're incubated basically.
And lots of times science goes really wrong. Like lots of the sci-fi movies are because they've tried to combine two things that didn't go together. And then it creates something that tries to have world domination.
The Romans are world and tries to have world domination that destroys everything until the end of like kind of like the end of the movie. They figure out a way to stop it, and then they have to go to the world domination kind of thing that they created and they stop it.
Yep.
There's some movies that are just cliffhangers that
Yes.
and there's another one, and then in the second movie they stop it.
So what genre is Jurassic Park fall under?
I think it'd be sci-fi. It's not real. It's kind of science. Kind of historical fiction, maybe.
Yes.
We don't know. Okay, so we're gonna do one more thing with our corn today before we move on to other things. All right, we're gonna work on. I think you've been working on some informational writing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So our learning target: I can gather relevant information from a print source and summarize the information in my notes. I can quote accurately from an informational text. I can share ideas through constructive conversations, right? So this is what you want to learn. This is what you want to be able to do. So we are going to take a look at our informative essay anchor chart. You probably have one. Have you made one in here? So the main thing I see it back there. The main thing we're going to focus on today, because I think you've worked on introducing the topic, we're going to work on developing the topic with facts, definitions, and details. That's the main part of the lesson today. So we're going to look back at the Corn Belt. The Corn Belt. I like this section. It has a lot of good information in it, I think. Let's see what we do in here. Too many things I've done. And this is how we do it. Yep, that's how I feel, Ms. Chestnut. Okay, so in the Corn Belt. All right, so there are a couple of things here that I want to include in my essay. What kind of things have you done for your essay so far? What have y'all worked on? What have y'all worked on for your essay so far?
Basically what corn,
The
the
introduction.
definition.
You're at the introduction.
You're at the introduction.
The introduction.
Okay.
They worked on it. They could use that piece that you're about to teach because that's where we're going. And
Okay,
they're kind of into the intro. So
okay,
that will lead them right into what they need next. So
perfect. All right, so the first section after the introduction, we can talk about the Corn Belt because this is where we learned some really important things. And this really goes back to what we did with our key details and central idea. Our key details and central idea already helped us pull out the important information that we would include in our writing. We just want to do it in our own words, okay? So some things that are important here in the Corn Belt, they're the same key details we talked about before. I want to tell why corn is grown in the United States. Why is it grown in the United States? Why is it grown in the Midwest? What did y'all learn? Look back at the passage if you're not sure. We talked about a couple of main reasons. Not because of oil.
Talked about the climate change.
We talked about the climate. So It's grown in the United States, in the Midwest, because it has the climate for it, the region's climate. It has hot summers, regular rainfall. I want to talk about that in my essay because that's really important. That's why we're even studying it, because it's an important crop here in the United States. Okay. Out of this next paragraph, what was important that we talked about here? Something really important to growing corn. If I'm going to grow corn, I need to know this, or I'm probably not going to be a very good corn farmer.
One common pattern or rotation of crops is to plant soybeans one year and corn the next.
Yes. So I want to talk about the crop rotation. I'm going to put a note of it here. And how they do soybeans one year and corn the next to help fertilize the soil. All right. And then in this last paragraph, what was most important? Many farms in the Corn Belt also raise cattle or hogs. These animals eat both corn and soybeans. In the fall, the animals go out into the fields to eat leftover crops. Animal waste helps fertilize the soil for the next season. What's important about that? Why do I need to know that if I'm going to farm corn?
Because
It helps you understand what you should do to add nutrients to the soil so you can plant the corn.
Yeah, what do I need if I want to add nutrients to the soil?
Soybeans.
Soybeans and corn.
I need soybeans and corn, but I need something else.
You need,
What did this paragraph here tell me that I need?
you need cattle or hogs so you may eat the leftover of the corn or the soybeans. The
Yes.
waste will fertilize the soil.
Yeah, so I need cattle or hogs. I need some kind of livestock that's going to fertilize the soil. All right. And it's helpful that they eat the corn and soybeans because I don't have to get them extra food. I already have the food. What kind of relationship is that? They eat the soybeans and corn. They poop and make good fertilizer that grows more corn and soybeans. What is that relationship?
Mutual benefit.
It's mutually beneficial, and it's also symbiotic. What is it? Yes. All right. All right. So we can take what we did about key details and central idea to help create our writing. So here on my planning for my writing, my first key idea is that I just think I'm not patient enough here. The
You're ready to write.
Midwest has a good climate for corn. Some important words from that were climate and corn. Huh? And Midwest. Some facts and details. There's lots of rainfall. Oh, I'm really sorry. And warm temperatures. Right? All right. Another key idea from the second is the crop rotation. Farmers use crop rotation to fertilize the soil. All right, so fertilize and crop rotation are my words. This is terrible. I'm so sorry. You'll never believe I have really great handwriting. All right, what is a fact and a detail here? I really kind of said it there already. Oh, I guess a detail could be about the soybeans and the corn, right? They rotate. Yep. they rotate the, geez. Okay. I'm gonna make this better by the next time I come here. All right, and then the final key detail was about the animals, farmers. Okay, keywords, fertilize. Again. All right, facts and details, cattle, and what other thing do they have?
Hogs.
Cattle and hogs. Fertilize soil to keep it healthy. Okay, does that make sense? Do you see how key details and central idea, like understanding what you're reading and getting the key details and central idea, can help you pull out important ideas to write about? They're the same. All right, on your, you don't have it. All right, on this sheet here, you're gonna reread the section called The Rise of Industrial Farming. You're gonna underline facts and key details and record them here like I did there. You're gonna find the key idea, the keywords, the facts and details, and you'll be able to use this in your writing, okay? So you're gonna do a couple of minutes practicing with your group, and then you'll have a section to do on your own. Because it's a different one. It kind of looks the same, but it's different. Do you need that line first? Okay, do you understand what to do? So you're gonna look at the section called The Rise of Industrial Farming. So you need to find that section in your magazine. It is on page 15, The Rise of Industrial Farming. So decide if you're going to read independently or together. All right, you can work together. You're finding the rise of industrial farming.
Fighting? Okay. I'll be back. No, I'll hide People say it's stuck in a file. There's nothing in a file. No, that's
Why do you think you're better than this? No, I'm not gonna say you, I don't just talk to you. And people are
Alright, let's work. Well, we got two, I got you guys.
No, what is today? Well, what did I do?
Bro.
Oh, I see.
You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to not know that. 95% of the
Expensive with hybrid. It's yearly $1 per acre. I'm already learning. Here we go. Did you read this page? Almost all corn in the United States are from hybrid seeds. Hybrid starts making and continue genetic material on DNA from other species together. This makes GMO corn resistant to insects. This tells me according to the National Corn Growers of America, NCGA, more than 3 million corn are harvested each year in the United States. However, today's industrial food practices where growers raise a crop. This has led many growers to simply raise cash crop instead of variety. This is a good practice for earning money. However, it can hurt profits and productivity. The concentration on a single crop depletes the soil. The lack of variety is odds with high soil functions and maintains balance. Also, one disease or pest. What is farming modernized exists when ecological diseases are today, farming systems are extremely competitive, but they also bring a variety of economic opportunities. This season, many biologists so it sounds like to me, all of this, the industrial farming. So it sounds like to me, technology made things faster, and we're like, oh, we can make more, we can make more. But now, there are these issues with the corn. So they can make lots of money, but it hurts productivity. So they're saying maybe we need to go back to where we started, not have as much corn.
I never said I did.
Who's reading number 10?
So think about that and think about what are the key ideas from 18 passages.
New farming methods. I can't say that. Agriculture. Agriculture. Hybrid corn, fertilizer, one variety of corn, with pollen from another variety
Hybrids.
The results that they develop.
No one knows. Knows what Daddy's here. You for the shit bag. This is bad. I need this genetic. Use for If I'm reading, that means you're pretty cool.
Okay, all right, let's come back together. I know you might not have finished. Hopefully you have at least finished reading. All right, what were some key ideas from this section of the text? What were some key or important things that it talked about? Yes?
It talked about
Hybrid?
It talked about hybrid corn may contain. Wait, no, that's not a corn. Hybrid.
Okay, well, hybrid corn is important. What does it say about the hybrid?
Hybrid corn may even contain genetic material or DNA from other species altogether.
Okay, so we know they started making hybrid corn, so that's an important detail. What else was important from what you read? All right, in paragraph 10, what's important about paragraph 10? What is it telling us about?
The new types of corn plant that is stronger and able to produce more seeds.
Yeah, it's telling us that new farming methods started in the 1800s and they created hybrid corn. All right. What was the importance of creating hybrid corn? Why did that matter? What did it allow them to do? To grow corn faster? Yeah, it helped them grow corn faster. Okay.
Friend,
All right, paragraph 11. This tells us more about using the hybrid corn production rows. What does that mean, production rows?
Oh, the average yield of multiple bushels per acre.
Yeah, it rose from 33 to 127. So what does it mean that production rose?
It means like more of it came in Greece.
Yes.
More got bigger.
They made more of it. All right, paragraph 12. What does this tell us? Where does our corn come from now? Most of it, where is it? From the United States. And how is most of it grown?
The DNA.
No.
Let's
see. Almost all corn in the United States grows from hybrid seeds. It's no longer just one kind of corn anymore. It's grown from different versions of corn. Paragraph 13 is telling us about, it's telling us about how now corn growers usually grow one kind of corn. It might all be hybrid, but they just grow one kind. They don't grow multiple versions of corn. Paragraph 14, it's saying that now that's how they make their money. They make a lot of money by growing just one kind of corn, but we know that what needs to happen to the soil for the corn to continue growing year after year after year. What did farmers do to keep the soil healthy from year to year to year?
Come on, friends, we talked about this yesterday. Wake up, wake up.
They rotated the crops. So if the farmers are growing one kind of corn every year, what's gonna happen? It's gonna deplete the nutrients in the soil, and then what's gonna happen? And then we're not gonna be able to grow any corn.
And to use the word, the soil will lose its integrity.
Yes.
Yes, so use those words that we realize that there's something, hello, friends, there's something, Levi, mutually beneficial about the growing process. And because of that, Zion, because of that, the soil can remain healthy. But when you continue to grow the same crop in the same place over and over and over,
The cost of it is that the soil loses its integrity.
the cost, these are the words, is that the soil will lose its integrity. And then you won't be able to plant,
And then the environment will not be able to plant the corn.
and then the environment will not be able to,
That's the corn.
And then you will
Yep.
not be able to cultivate.
That's right.
then the cultivation process is over.
Cultivation process is over and then everything else.
Yep.
And then you
So
won't have
therefore-
resources.
Paragraph 15 tells us what biologists recommend. What do biologists and agriculturalists recommend because of what we're talking about?
They suggest a return to the practice of the three sisters planting or crop rotation.
Yeah, because what happens is lots of times we have modern technology, like people used to do things one way for a very long time. And then we've come along and we're like, oh, now we have machines and factories and we can do things better and faster and bigger.
How was it? They had to pick
It's not always true.
Wasn't they had to pick it?
Was what my brother.
There is just
That you
a
guys.
fast way of doing it.
I am not that old.
Yes, I will admit the typewriter.
I know what they are, but I never had a typewriter. Thank you.
I was so excited when not to get off the subject, but when the typewriter became where it had like a little screen, I was like, oh yes, and my dad bought me one. He still has it. But yes, anyway. Yes,
Okay,
technology.
so, Ms. Dotson, do you want them to go ahead and finish collecting their notes for these two sections, or do you want them to?
I think they should,
Okay,
because
so go ahead with your partner, or your table, you're gonna finish your notes for the rise of the industrial farming. When you finish that, the second section, you do independently, the early cultivation section. That's your independent practice. Okay, and then you're gonna have your notes for your next two sections of your informative writing. This is essentially building your next two paragraphs.
and I was telling them, there's that chart in the first part of the book, in the Roman numerals before we actually start reading, where they're collecting week 1, week 2, and week 3 from the different sources. So it's all of this, boys and girls, hello, friends, is to help build your paper, so that when you get to the meat of the paper, you already have your details kind of written out somewhere. Anthony, friends,
And where do you want them to put their notes when they're done?
those go into their 1.5-inch binder,
Okay,
and they have boys and girls, you're gonna put your papers in your 1.5-inch binder in your ELA folder, that yellow folder,
Right now?
when you're finished.
when you're finished.
Okay, I am gonna leave y'all to do this work. I can't wait to see your final essays. Thank you for letting me come in and teach today. I will come back and I will learn how to use this board hopefully sometime in between. Y'all are awesome. Here's some more copies. I mean, I'm enough for both.
That's okay. No, it's okay. Yeah, I can do
What's
Yeah,
I do have
to be honest, in my mind, it's all
Yes, it is.
all the flows of power. Even for us.
Sharing with me today.
Thank you for coming, I really appreciate it. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.